All right, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. I am going to record this. So if anyone else wants to watch it later on, they can, or if you need to go back and see it. We wanted to do this for everyone to go over the convention schedule, be able to answer any questions people might have about state convention this year. We do have some improvements to convention this year, some schedule changes. We wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of those, so that you have the best experience possible for yourself and for your students. We've got Dr. Smith and Mr. Stelly are on here with us, and I think Ms. Raquel may join with us here later on. So as we go through, feel free to ask any of us questions, and I'll give them, and Raquel's here too, and I'll give them the opportunity to speak when we come up to some of their initiatives that are happening. So we've had, I believe Ms. Eaton said our pre-registration number was close to 1,000, so that's really good. That's about where we were last year. We're expecting probably somewhere between 1,500 and 1,600 people total show up. I'll tell you this, that the expo is completely full. We've got a full slate of events and activities that are scheduled for the whole week. So there's more than enough to keep you and your students occupied and busy and entertained and educated while you're at convention this year. So if you're looking for convention information, remember, you can always go to our updates. I've got the direct link to the convention page there that you can do. But if you want to just go from our website, go to laffa.org, click on association, you go down to conferences and events, and then click on the State Convention and Expo page. This is the page where all of our current information is housed. It was updated as of yesterday. So there is pretty updated information that you may want to look at. If you have not registered yet, remember that early registration deadline passed. That was last Friday. So if you still need to register, you have two options. You can either register here. It's going to charge you now the late fee, so it'll be $40 per person. There's also no more opportunity to reserve spots for day of service or anything like that. Those have already filled up. And we also can no longer guarantee you t-shirts. You'll have to purchase them on site. And it's, supply will be limited. So whatever's left is what you'll be able to purchase. But some people have called their school needs an invoice even for the late fee. So if you need an invoice, you can still register here and get your invoice to get your check cut. You can also register on site. Ms. Eaton has the ability now with our new QuickBooks system to generate you a receipt and an invoice on site. So that's going to be awesome this year. We don't have to wait and have those things emailed out to you after the fact or mailed later on. So either way is fine. Just know that from now through convention, the fee for the full week is $40 per person. You can purchase a one-day pass. Those are $5 per person, but those are not for members. Members have to pay the full price, and so do teachers. Those one-day passes are only intended for special guests, parents, administrators, people that are coming in to see students for one day. So students and teachers have to pay the full fee. Also, remember that you're required to bring every advisor and at least 2 students to convention. So let's get those in. We will be sending out invoices. If you don't go to convention, you are going to be billed $40 per every ag teacher at your school and $40 for 2 members for not being in attendance. So please, let's get out to convention and participate and be a part of it. So registration is still open through convention. If you need housing, we do have housing options that are still listed. I can tell you that the Holiday Inn and the Hotel Bentley are sold out. They've been sold out for several weeks now. So the only way you're going to get a room in either of those hotels at this point is if you know someone who's dropping a room. I don't have any way of knowing who's dropping rooms. We don't get that information. So if you want a room in either of those, you're just going to have to call some of your friends and see if anything's available. But there are multiple options around the Alexandria Pineville area. All of these have FFA rates. I think all of them have breakfast included. So if you still need housing, make sure you call up one of these and tell them you want the FFA rate, and you should still be able to get housing for the convention. Let's go ahead and go through the schedule here for just a minute. I want to show you some of the new things that are happening this year so that everyone is aware and prepared as we go through. So if you have state officer candidates, they've already been informed of their pre-convention schedules. They're going to be getting there on Friday evening. They're going to have non-com rounds are going to start Saturday morning. The committee is already together, so we're pretty excited about that. As of yesterday, we have 15 candidates. I think 15. No, 17 candidates. So it should be a pretty good slate. We have at least one candidate from every area this year, so we will have a full slate of 10 officers that will be elected. So our state non-com will meet the weekend prior. Exhibitors will start moving in on Sunday. And then the convention itself is going to start Monday morning. So Miss Eton will have registration open at 8 o'clock. If you're going to register on site, you can get there as early as 8. For those of you who signed up students to work Courtesy Corps, they'll be meeting at 10 o'clock in the Lake Charles room of the Holiday Inn. We've done this for several years. We're going to have a few other additional duties for Courtesy Corps this year. We need more help in the expo this year. So we'll have duties assigned to them, and those Courtesy Corps members will be instructed as to where to meet on their assigned workday. This is something new. We're adding a delegate process question and answer for delegates and advisors at 10 o'clock that morning. So teachers and students are invited to come in and sit together. This is going to be pretty informal. We're going to go through all of the delegate issues that are going to be discussed at convention, the constitutional amendment, the dues recommendation for next year, and we'll provide an opportunity for teachers and students to ask questions to make sure everyone is clear and prepared for the delegate process later that afternoon. So please make every effort, teachers and your 2 delegates, to attend this informative session that morning. At 11 o'clock, we're going to have the expo grand opening. I'm going to turn it over to Raquel to tell you more about the expo, because as of yesterday, Raquel, the expo is so full that we're going to have vendors out in the hallway, correct?
Yes, what a problem to have. So what, in addition to what we did last year, where if those of you who were able to attend, we broke down expo by category. I don't know if that had been done in the past, but we kind of have that main row dedicated to colleges, universities, and technical schools. We have an aisle dedicated to industry representation, and then another aisle dedicated to like extracurriculars or clubs that students might be able to join to kind of continue the same club mentality after they graduate, or even while they're still in high school. And then we had kind of speckled throughout, we had a couple of shops where students could take advantage of some tried and true merch and little gifts and souvenirs and things like that. We've had, and we kind of anticipated this, but it really happened. It really happened where we've had a huge influx of what can only be called influencers who have shown and been making the rounds all over the country, want to attend our convention. And so the good news is that this is going to be really exciting for students who follow a lot of these influencers or content creators. And it really goes to show you the impact that digital advocacy has for the ag community. And we're hoping that the students, we actually have a workshop dedicated to that this year, but we're hoping that the students learn how to advocate while meeting some of their heroes in a way there at the expo. So we've got that back half of the expo is going to be dedicated to, similar to the National FFA Mall. There's going to be lots of merchandise and of course, our tried and true like Pelican State clothing, as well as Steve's Cool Stuff is still going to be there. We're also going to have the official merchandise booth. Last year that was in the concession stand. We're going to have an official merchandise booth for Louisiana FFA. Louisiana FFA exclusive merchandise will be sold there. Ooh, Kate, I'm seeing me. Let's not do that. Oh, sorry. So make sure you tell your students, I guess what I'm saying, make sure you tell your students, you can go look and see who all is going to be there when it comes to content creators. Our big announcement is that Gatlin Diddler, also better known as Farm Stuff with Daryl, as well as his whole crew is going to be there. So they amount, like, I think they have 6 million followers on all their social medias combined or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous how large their influence is. They make really cool, clean content with really high morals, which is something that we felt comfortable sharing with the students. They're going to be doing a meet and greet for students, as well as opportunities to sell some of their exclusive merchandise. And then, of course, everybody's excited about Wandering Maverick's going to be there. They'll have 3 or 4 booths lined up. Steve's Cool Stuff will have another 3. And then we have just an abundance of really cool merchandise being sold at convention, including the highly desirable hats. We've got the 2nd generation of the Louisiana FFA hats that everybody was looking for this year. And then for the girls, we have really cool, like Lululemon inspired fanny packs. I'm going to call them fanny packs. I don't know what the young kids call them. But they're super cool. They have the Louisiana FFA branding on them. So make sure you share that with your kids. We'll be sending out on our social media some of the items that we'll have. But it is an absolutely packed convention with a total of, I think, 60 booths. And again, we're even putting in a better so that our gold emblem chapters don't kind of, or golden ideas. I'm sorry, I'm getting that name wrong, Kate. But since they don't, so that they don't get kind of lost in the mix, we're actually putting them in that main carpeted area in the main throughway, so that they can kind of be showcased in a very distinct way. So they're going to be put out in that carpeted area, so it's the first thing you see right before you enter the expo. Most importantly, our expo is being presented by the U.S. Army, ROTC. They have done a great investment with us to make things like having these influencers and really cool merchandise and things like that possible. And so they'll be the first thing that you see once you do walk into the expo hall. Please say thank you when you see them, because they've made a significant contribution to the foundation, which is enabling us to have a lot of growth here at the convention this year.
Awesome. Does anybody have questions about Expo before we move on? Really excited about it. Raquel's done a lot of hard work this year of growing this thing out. It even has its own presenting sponsor this year. So that's really cool that the Expo is growing. It's providing more opportunities for our students. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I wanted to mention, so something else that's kind of new, I forgot to mention this. Not all, but some of our booths have actually asked to start staying extra days. I know in the past we worried about people leaving early, but if your students are going to be busy on Monday and Tuesday, we have a couple of booths and merchandise sellers, boutiques, if you want to call them that, who will be staying that extra day as well. So that's kind of a new opportunity we've offered, and we think a lot of people will probably end up taking advantage of.
Yep. All right. You can still see the schedule, correct? It's still pulled up. All right. So LATA board will still do their meeting. The Louisiana Tech Alumni Luncheon is still scheduled for the first day of convention. Dr. Murphy has already contacted me. He's going to come out and be cooking food for all the Tech alumni. That was part of pre-registration. So if you included that number on your registration, you're invited to attend. Again, the expo is going to run that first day. We backed up the first pre-session, the first general session this year. Last year, we started them at 12 o'clock and it interfered with lunchtime. And it was a big issue with food trucks. They were confused about when to come, when not to come. So we pushed the first session away from lunchtime. So you should have plenty of time between 11 and 1 o'clock. If you want to go out and get lunch, there will be food trucks on site. I'm not sure who they are yet. I need to get those from the CVB next week, and we'll advertise that also with convention information, but there will be food options available. I think this year they're going to park down below under the Riverfront Center in the shade, right, Raquel? I think that's what we had talked about with the CVB, so that you're not out in the hot sun of the parking lot. So easy access. There should be several options. So we'll do our first session at 1:30. Advisors meeting has been moved to 3 o'clock. I think last year we did it at 4. We'll do it at 3. We also moved the schedule around to add an additional hour for committee meetings. We had been really pushed up against the deadline, the time limit on that. So we rearranged schedule, got an extra hour. Those will start at 3 o'clock. I'll talk about delegate process here shortly. Your committee assignments have already been made and shared. We're also going to share that the day of so that students know where to go. And we also have something new that we've added to the delegate process that we'll talk about here in just a second. Our workshops will start at 3:30. Those will be in the Bitly on the first day. You can find all that in the convention app, which I'll show you that here shortly too. Mr. Babers, you might want to mention the change with this one. Food science is now going to take place on Monday and Tuesday because of time issues that we've been having just running on Tuesday. So Mr. Babers, if you want to talk a little about food science this year and what we're doing on that first day.
Yeah, so for anybody who is registered for the food science career development event, if you have competed in this event before, you know that the product development is unique to this contest. It's, to my knowledge, it's the only CDE we do in our state where we have a team activity where all 4 students participate together in addition to the individual practicums. And the product development in the past has taken a long time for the coordinators of the CDE to grade. So to provide ample time for anticipated increase in participation in this event, we decided to split this separately. So anybody who is competing in this event needs to make sure that their team members are available at 4 p.m. to do the product development component. It's a 1 hour activity And that just gives the coordinators additional time to grade the material accurately.
I think that was a good move by splitting it up that way. It'll be a lot less stressful trying to run all this on Tuesday and get it crammed in before that nighttime session. So I think that was a really good move to put it that way. The Tag the Teach Ag dinners that night, that's also been sent out on the registration from Dr. Starr. So if you and your students are interested in participating, make sure you register with her. And then the state CD board will meet that night. We pushed back our delegate session by 30 minutes, again, to help accommodate dinner time so that we weren't having dinner time crush, make sure people can get there on time. So we'll do that at 8 o'clock at this first session. This is where we'll elect state officers. We'll do our committee reports. We'll vote on state dues, and we'll vote on the constitutional amendment. So again, we'll talk about delegate process more here in just a minute. On Tuesday, registration opens at 7:30. The expo opens at 8. We'll have an early morning session starting at 8 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll have a lot of different things happening. So area CD board meetings will start at 10. That'll be in the Holiday Inn. Now, these rooms are going to already be set up for CDEs that are taking place later in the day. So area or advisors, when you go to your area meetings, just sit in the chairs as they are and try not to move them around a whole lot so that we're not changing up the setup. We'll do Ag Science Fair starting at 10. This has been moved this year. We did it in the hallway near the Bentley Skywalk last year, but there was way too much foot traffic passing through. It was too loud, and we couldn't shut that off. So this year we've moved it to a private section on the other side of the Riverfront Center. So if you go around where the concession stand is, where that seating area is, you keep walking back. Like if you were going around to the back side of the expo, that's where we'll do Ag Science Fair this year. So it should be out of the way. There's not many people walk back that way. We can shut it off. I think we have 8 entries this year for Ag Science Fair, so pretty much on par with what we had last year. We'll also start area NOMCOM that morning. The candidates running for area office will have 1 round on Tuesday. It'll start at 10 o'clock. We had an issue last year where we had NOMCOM rounds taking place during state CDEs. We changed the schedule this year to make sure those don't overlap this year. So that's why we're only going to do 1 area NOMCOM round on Tuesday. It'll start that morning, and then it should finish up by lunchtime. I know, Raquel, you said the foundation board is not meeting, so I need to take that one off. All the area NOMCOM rounds will take place in the Hotel Bentley. We'll take those candidates in the session hall after the first session and walk them over to the Bentley so they'll know where to go. Our state officers will do their luncheon with their parents and advisors. Something that you may have noticed, there is no STARS luncheon this year. We've eliminated the STARS luncheon because the number of students applying for STAR awards was too low to continue justifying a full banquet for that particular award event. So the sponsorships that had been going to the STARS luncheon now go to the foundation gala, which Raquel will talk about here in just a little while. So again, that also freed up some time for us to maneuver some schedules. So it actually worked out. We'll do more workshops that afternoon for students not participating in CDEs, and then all the state CDEs will start at 1 o'clock in the Holiday Inn. So Dr. Smith, Spencer, Aaron, if y'all want to talk any more about CDEs, I don't know if you had more to add.
I just want to remind everybody real quick who's watching the video, and we'll send out an email as well, that registration for these CDEs close on the 30th of this month. Also, once registration closes, me and Aaron will get together and we'll start drawing orders for the contest, and we'll also send that out via email. So be looking for that information once registration closes again on May 30th.
And in addition, just as a reminder, I know it's went out in some emails previously, but if you have a marketing plan or Ag Issues Forum team, the portfolio will be submitted through Judging Card along with the registration. The deadline to submit the portfolio is May 30th, just as the registration deadline is for the CDEs themselves.
One more thing on that too, the deadline to submit members onto your membership roster for this year was back on May 1st because National FFA has now closed the system to us. We can't submit any more members to National FFA. So if you did not get members on a roster before May 1st and you plan on competing in one of these events, they're not going to show up on Judging Card for you. So just keep that in mind, that May 1st is always the deadline for membership submission. So all of those events will take place in the Holiday Inn that afternoon at 2 o'clock. Teachers who are interested in helping out with the Livestock Exhibition Award, they're going to be meeting in the boardroom of the Holiday Inn. There are several teachers that are wanting to possibly revamp that award, make it a little easier to understand the point system. I'm all for that. I think it needs to be revised. So teachers who apply for livestock exhibition, we're going to be meeting at 2:00 in the boardroom at Holiday and review that application. We'll do more workshops that afternoon, and then we'll do our third pre-session and general session that evening starting at 5:00. This is something new, two things that are new that have been added. So the first one, this delegate fun night. Emily Stegall, one of our undergraduate assistants, we were having a meeting several months back, and she's like, we need to do something fun to encourage more students to be delegates. And so we worked with the city of Alexandria and Pineville. I had never been here before this year, but it is really cool. We took the state officers to the Wayback Arcade in March over in Pineville. If you've never been, it's pretty much an old retro style arcade. They've got pinball games and video arcade games going back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They've also got new stuff like PlayStations. They've got air hockey. Really, really cool. They've given us a good deal on it. And so any delegate who participates in both their committee meeting and at the first delegate business session is going to be given a wristband to attend a delegate fun night for free on that night. Now, because of the number of delegates, we're going to break it up into 2 shifts. So we'll have one group will attend from 7 to 8:30. The second group will attend from 8:30 to 10:00. It has only been reserved for delegates. I'm waiting to hear back from the city to find out if there's space for if advisors want to go, if other members want to go. If they do allow that, though, you'll have to pay your admission. But for delegates, the admission is covered. So that's right across the river in Pineville. We'll make sure we put out some information about the actual address, hoping that students will want to participate. It'd be a lot of fun, and we want to thank our delegates for the hard work that they do. At the same time that's going on, our foundation gala is going to take place. I'll ask Raquel again to give us some information on that.
Thank you. So as Paige said earlier, we kind of had a shift in need. So the STARS Luncheon, we wanted it to be an opportunity to, in a really formal way, highlight some of our students, but Area J kind of has limitations with that. And it was also the middle of the day, so we couldn't always get, people out to kind of be the audience, for lack of a better word. So it ended up just becoming a luncheon. So in an effort to create a more formal event that is alongside in a partnership with convention, but a more of an adult-only experience for our partners, our investors, our supporters, you guys as the advisors, if you're able to attend, we created this gala. Now, it did take place back in 2019, but that was taking place in Baton Rouge, which again limits people's attendance abilities. So the Blue and Gold Gala 2.0 or 2023 is happening alongside convention on that Tuesday night. It is immediately following that session. So once that session ends, the idea would be that our sponsors, supporters, and advisors who are able to attend can leave that session, get changed into some formal wear, and then head on over, literally walk all on over to the Alexandria Museum of Art, which, if you don't know, is just right on the other side, the parking lot right on the other side of that bridge. And it's on the 3rd floor of that building. So it's going to be an intimate gathering of about 100 people. Dinner, open bar. We're hiring a really great comedian I've hired before. And then there'll also be a live and silent auction. So it's a really great bang for your buck. I mean, considering everything that you're getting. And all of the proceeds go back to the foundation in an effort to create more Louisiana FFA scholarships. So that's the big why. When I came on board, not only was there not really a formal event for adults on our register of programming, but there also wasn't a whole lot of like Louisiana FFA independent scholarships. So because of the efforts of our sponsors, Louisiana Forestry Foundation and CF Industries, we're actually going to be able to this year give $2,000 in scholarships away at convention. So the change is happening as we speak, and it's not just a time to go have fun with each other. Of course, it will be fun, but it is really to make a more impactful difference from the foundation's perspective in the lives of our students. So the more success we have at this event, now that we were able to confirm the $2,000, the more success that we have at this event will enable us to, create even more scholarships in the future and more opportunities for our students throughout the year. Hopefully you guys have seen some of the opportunities that have become available because of the work of the foundation in the last, 12 months or so. I'm certainly proud of it. And this is just another example of that. So if you want to get together, it's actually a better deal to buy a table of 8 for $400, a little bit cheaper than buying individual tickets. So if you want to get together with your friends, of course, this is probably more ideal for programs that have more than one student, or excuse me, more than one teacher. But it is going to be a really fun night. We shouldn't be going too late in the evening. And again, a formal attire is requested, and no students are allowed to be in attendance. You do have to be 21 or older to come into the gala for obvious reasons. So that's what we're going to try out, and we'll see how it goes. We might do a thing where we might switch back and forth and do Baton Rouge one year and Alexandria another year. But we really wanted to make it more inclusive for people all over the state to be able to attend and show their support. So if you know anyone in your community that might be coming with you to get to convention, or someone in the Jill Alexandria area that you're like, hey, they love the FFA, but they're not a student, right? So they can't get involved and give back. This would be the opportunity to send them. You can just literally highlight that hyperlink there and send it to any of your friends. I highly recommend it. Again, it's really the only adult-only event that really is in our programming right now, and I think we're missing an opportunity by not engaging more adults in what the difference we can make at the foundation level. So, is there any questions about that, Kate? I feel like I may have missed something.
I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's exciting and a good addition to the convention.
Thank you.
Getting choked up over the gala. Anyway, going back to the convention schedule.
As long as it's not nausea, right? Like,
No,
it's not nauseous.
Wednesday morning, we'll have day of service, multiple different locations. I don't know, Raquel, Spencer, Aaron, Dr. Smith wants to tackle this one. There's a lot going on that day.
I guess I'll start because I created the monster, and then of course it's going to very much take everyone on state staff to make it go through without a hitch. So I'll start by saying thank you and I'm sorry, but this is going to be really impactful as well. So kind of on the same vein of the impact that the foundation can make, this is about the impact that our students can make. Obviously, service is a huge part of what we do at convention, and many of our students use the service hour opportunities. So my goal this year, having handed this project, I wanted this to be one of our biggest day of services ever. So we're going to hopefully allocate about 200 plus, maybe give or take, students working throughout Alexandria that morning. So I used inspiration from the core pieces of your curriculum as ag teachers. So y'all are teaching ag mechanics, right? Y'all are teaching animal science, you're teaching plant science, you're teaching food security, right? These are all key aspects of your curriculums. And I thought that it was only right to utilize that as inspiration for what we should be doing at Day of Service. And we've done all of these things in some capacities before, but now we're doing them all at the same time. So of course, we're sending some students to the Alexandria Food Bank. There are some restrictions. I think they're all the spaces are sold. So if you haven't already, looked at your registration form and looked at those restrictions, please do that as a reminder. There's a dress code. All of the registrants for Day of Service will receive a free T-shirt, but just make sure like shorts are appropriate lengths and tennis shoes are closed toes and things like that. So some of them will be going to the food bank. Some will be going to the community garden. We added a new stop at Manna House, which is a true soup kitchen. They'll be helping prep for Manna House. We will be sending others to the animal shelter, which is pretty cool. So walking dogs and feeding animals, and even showcasing some of those animals for people to potentially adopt, which is really cool. And then the big chunk of the pie is going to be about 75 of those 200 students are going to be broken up into teams, carpentry teams. And they're going to be building what is going to amount to essentially a little free library, similar to what National FFA did at Nationals 2 years ago. But instead of them just being limited to little free libraries, they're going to be community pantries. So they'll be adopted. Some of them may be adopted by the students who actually built them or the schools that actually build them. Others will be placed in places throughout Alexandria and Central Louisiana. But they'll be filled with need-based essentials, whether that be hygiene products, canned foods, of course, books. I even saw one the other day that was actually a little craft box, and it was for students in the summer to have hands-on experiences, and they're filled with little crafts basically that any student can go grab And they can also be placed in schools for, student essentials, clothing items, socks, things like that. So it's a big endeavor, and they're building them at convention at the CLTCC shop in Alexandria. Again, that can be walked to, I think, that can be a walking distance. But the other locations are a little bit farther out. We'll get buses arranged for that. There is no additional cost to do this. This is a donation based. It's only possible through donations. We had received a significant grant from National FFA, as well as a grant from Roy O. Martin. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that this is big. I mean, it's a big endeavor. Again, 75 students, and about 20 of these houses are going to be built on location that morning. And it's possibly the most impactful day of service that we've ever had, and it's only possible because of the investment from our partners. So we hope to see you there, and you'll also be receiving, if you have registered for that, you will be receiving an email with kind of an updated list of the basic tools you'll need: a drill, a crescent wrench, a drill bit, very basics. We'll provide everything else, but things that you should already have, on your person or your team. And we're really excited.
Yep, it's going to be a great day. Area NOMCOM will meet again that morning. They're going to do 3 rounds that day, back to back to back, so that we can get through the area election process. So that'll be happening the same time as day of service. At 9 o'clock this year, we didn't bring the hypnotist back. We're bringing a game show to state convention this year. Raquel had a connection with one of her former classmates that runs a trivia game show called Suspense Games. This is free for any student or advisor to participate. They will be taking participants. There will be prizes for winners. So I would highly encourage you and your students, if you're not doing day of service, if you're not doing anything else that morning, don't sleep in. Come out and participate in the trivia show. It's kind of like Jeopardy meets Family Feud, but when I say it's like a real game show, like they've actually got, podiums and buzzers and lights and sound, and it's going to be pretty cool. So again, free of charge. Come out at 9 o'clock and you can participate in that event.
Okay, you're forgetting the most important part. Grand prize for the team of 2 students is up to $1,000
in cash.
In cash.
That
That's
we don't have to pay for,
$500.
which is even better.
Yeah, it's free to do it.
Yeah.
$1,000.
It's a big deal. More workshops at 10 o'clock. The state CD board will meet in the ballroom of the Hotel Bentley. This is where they'll do final CD board recommendations for the year. We'll do NOMCOM again at 10. At 11 o'clock, any chapter that has a state degree recipient this year is invited to bring their degree recipients and their advisors to a reception in Area J behind the session hall. We'll have light lunch for everyone. We'll have some guest speakers. We'll talk about what students can do after high school as far as joining FFA alumni, how to contribute to the foundation. It's just a good way to recognize those students and their accomplishments. We had 134 state degree recipients this year, so that's an increase from last year. Really excited about that. And then we'll carry right over into our state alumni meeting following. So anyone who's there at the reception is welcome to stay on for the alumni meeting as we try to continue to grow that program in the state. Then also at 11 o'clock, Dr. Smith is going to be hosting the Ag Ed Commission meeting at convention again this year. Dr. Smith, anything on that agenda that you want to share with teachers, anything they need to know about it?
Yeah, just something real quick. We actually moved it to the Monroe room for 11 o'clock that day to have more space, because our state creed speaker will be using the Ag Ed Commission as a panel of judges to perform the creed and answer questions. It's going to be a mock national practice, if you will. So we moved it to the Monroe room. Ag Ed Commission is the board where most of our IBCs are started or failed. There are some IBCs that we've tried to pass that haven't made it past the commission, but ag mechanics, agricultural technology, our CDE credentials, all of those started with the Ag Ed Commission, which I'm the co-chair with the Department of Education. We have a new IBC in veterinary science, I think, that's going to be proposed by ICEV at that meeting, as well as some other items on the agenda. All the universities are represented, Technical and Community College, Southern's there, the Cooperative Extension Service, Ag and Forestry, LATA has representation. It's an opportunity for teachers to really see some of the governmental side of ag education. It's a public meeting, So it'll be notified on the door 24 hours before the meeting and is open to everyone. If the room fills up, we'll find a bigger room. So you want to come and see how that process works, feel free to come and see the Ag Ed Commission in action.
Perfect. We'll do area NOMCOM final round at 12 o'clock that day, and then our fourth pre-session starts that afternoon at 1:30 in the session hall. That night will be chapter night at 6:30. The CVB is hosting a second line march to the convention dance. They did this last year. We didn't advertise it very well, but I hear that a lot of people showed up and it was a lot of fun. I'm told that they're supposed to have a brass band playing this year to march everyone over. They're going to meet on the plaza behind the Riverfront Center. So if you go out straight through the expo, it's that plaza level on the back. They'll march from there over down to the city hall for the dance, and the dance will start that night as soon as the second line is finished. I need to check on the time of the dance. It says 8 o'clock here. I think that it's going to start more at 7 when they move over. And then we will still have fireworks on the river again this year as we had last year. That was a big hit, a lot of fun. The city's bringing them back for us again this year. On Thursday morning, we'll do the state degree and the honorary state degree ceremony at 8 o'clock. Right after that's over, area delegates will go off to their assigned rooms to vote on area officers. We'll do the area NOMCOM reports and do elections. This will all be in the app of their room assignments. Some will be in the Holiday Inn, some will be in the Bentley. We'll install the area officers at 10 o'clock, and then our last session will be at 10:30 that morning. So hopefully by 12 o'clock on Thursday, convention will wrap up and everyone will be free to go home. So that is the schedule. Very quick rundown of the schedule. There's a few other things I wanted to show you just specific to convention with some of these pieces that we're looking at. Talk about the delegate process. Please make sure that you review all of the items coming up through the delegate process with your students before coming to convention. Remember, every chapter gets 2 voting delegates. You click on the link here. We've got all the information that you need to be prepared. Students will also be able to access all this information on the mobile app. So if we go over, if you download the mobile app on your phone, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a second also, this is what it's going to look like on your phone. If you go to delegate process, page that I just pulled up is here in the mobile app. So on your phone, all the information for the committees, the rationale for the committees, the research for the committees, all those things will be listed here on the mobile app that your students will be able to access during the process. There's 4 delegate committees. Make sure you review the rationale and the research that's been provided for them. We have our state dues recommendation for this year. We'll cover this more in depth at the delegate Q&A, but just quickly, the state dues recommendation this year is to continue offering individual membership, so $5 per member for non-affiliated chapters. Keep paying your blue and gold and foundation fee invoices as you've always done. But for affiliated chapters this year, our executive committee is proposing to create a state affiliation fee scale. This is similar to the fee scale that National FFA has for national affiliated chapters. The purpose of it is it would make this easier for affiliated chapters to get their membership paid for during the year because they'll know exactly what the fee is. It's not going to change every year depending on number of members. And because our affiliated chapters typically are much larger than what the non-affiliated chapters are, it makes sense that they would be on this sliding scale and that their chapter and foundation fees would just be deducted from their overall state fee. Many states are moving towards this model. More of our chapters are adopting affiliation, so it makes sense to do this. Back in 2017, we only had 19 chapters that were affiliated statewide. This year, we have right about 50. So that number has dramatically increased in the last 5 years. We need to move towards a scale that makes it easier for those affiliation fees to be paid for. So this is the dues recommendation that we've set for this year, pending delegate approval. There's also a constitutional amendment that the executive committee proposed. At National FFA Convention last year, the delegates voted to allow FFA membership down to the 5th grade level. This is because the current Perkins federal law that provides funding for career and tech ed defines career and tech ed as including grades 5 through 12. So in order to align with the current Perkins law, National FFA now allows FFA membership on the 5th and 6th grade level. In our state, I don't know of any middle school program that has 5th grade membership, but there are some that have had and probably will continue to have 6th grade membership. So if your delegates vote in favor of this amendment, this would increase our state membership with some of our middle school programs, and it may even encourage more to offer it on the 6th grade level. So we're definitely in favor of this. It requires a 2/3 vote of the delegates to pass. And if so, this would go into effect this coming school year. So please look over it, discuss this with your delegates before you come out to convention. We also have the business session schedules are posted, so you can see those, what we'll be covering. And then committee assignments for your chapters are also currently posted online. So if you didn't register for a committee, make sure you go look at each one. There's 4 committees. They're alphabetized, so find your chapter and you can determine which committees you're assigned to. You'll be assigned to 2 committees. You'll have 1 student assigned to each one. We will be live streaming the convention again, so if you have family, friends, people back home that can't attend in person, it will be live streamed, so you'll be able to watch it here on the site. We just talked about our day of service. And then for the mobile app, the convention app, there is this short tutorial that was posted yesterday. Make sure you download it to your phone. You can do this from your iPhone or from your Android. You don't find them in the App Store or in the Google Play Store. It's a mobile version of the state website. So there's a specific way you have to do that. You'll add a bookmark to your home screen. So just watch the little 1-minute short video and it will explain to you how to get that done. Does anybody have questions about anything convention related at all?
I did want to add, Cade, this is a small thing, but it is different. So I know that it might catch some people off guard. The Wi-Fi for convention is being provided by, AEST. There are technology sponsors. So our charging booth in Expo will still be a thing if you need to have a charge. And the name of the Wi-Fi is pretty obvious, going to be LAFFA, but the password is going to be AEST. So you are going to have to know the secret password. We just don't want to like overload the network. Pretty self-explanatory once you know the things that you have to know, but that is different from what we've done in the past. So thank you to AEST, of course, for that. But that is important to know.
Any other staff have anything to add?
Kate, I just wanted to mention, we talked about the several sessions of workshops we're offering. I just wanted to encourage ag teachers to try to encourage your members to attend these workshops. We've worked really hard. We have a variety of workshops that we kind of sat down. We thought, we want stuff for SAE for all. And then we took into consideration the mission statement, Premier Leadership, Personal Growth, Career Success. So I believe we have a lot of workshops to offer students to help them in these areas, all the way from, we're going to have some drones to aquaponics. So some SAE ideas, as well as, just workshops for helping our students for later on in life. We have a life skills workshop for older FFA members getting ready for life after FFA in high school. So we have a lot to offer the kids. Please consider, take a look at those, and let's fill up the rooms, because I think we have some great workshops for our young students.
Yep. The workshops are full. We have a full schedule of them, so that'll be there for teachers and students to utilize. Anything else?
Yeah, and shout out to Aaron and Spencer, because again, the workshop lineup is really, really strong. We've got one on apprenticeships and they've done a lot of hard work. So good job, guys.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, we will see all of you in a few weeks. We'll have some more information that we'll be sharing out via email prior to then. But of course, if you have any questions until then, feel free to reach out, email, call us. We'll be happy to help you out. Everybody have a good weekend.